Hello and welcome to my build. I got this 1988 Coleman Columbia camper for free. Found it on Facebook Marketplace. It is totally trashed. I went over it and I was going to restore it, but instead I'm going to turn it into something more than it ever was with full amenities. So sit back, relax, grab yourself a cold adult beverage and some tasty snacks, and take this journey with me as I turn a piece of junk into gold. Carpenter ants found this sucker. Man, do they find this sucker. Oh, hello. We got a dead chipmunk. Oh, yeah. What are we gonna do with this? I mean, it is chewed up bad. I don't even know if this is fixable. I really got a bad feeling about this. I just don't know. I got most of the ants out, so that's cool. Got this pulled up, got that pushed out a little bit. Yeah, I watched some YouTube videos on restoring these things, but man, I don't know. The roof is just gone on this thing too. I got the first step done on this pop-up camper project, which is getting a title for something that, you know, doesn't really have a title. The pop-up is popped, but not unpopped. See, the top is just complete garbage, so today is going to be cleanup and demo day. Using a carpet knife, I took and I cut up all of the top and removed it as best as possible without cutting myself, which is a good thing. It was completely brittle and ratty. There's no way, even if I were to patch it, would it be worth salvaging. I stripped everything off, pulled out the tray that holds the tent and all the hardware. It had a wooden box on the back here, which was completely rotten and just junk, and that just had to go as well, so I completely stripped that out as well. It was bolted down with some rusty bolts. I had to use an angle grinder to cut those off. Oh, that looks a lot better, don't it, without the stupid box thing on there? Same thing with the back, just cutting all the top off. The hardware that held on the top was just held in with some screws. This thing was carpeted. I'm not sure that these originally were carpeted or not. So there was no way I was keeping it anyway. So I just ripped up all the carpet. And underneath it did have a linoleum tile or a linoleum laminate rolled out. And I think that's what it originally had. I took and I Gorilla taped that hole there. So today what I want to do is work on the top. So I'm going to patch this hole and then start to re-insulate and waterproof and make it pretty. I need to take this top off. So here's one of the corners where the pops are, or the pop-up thingamajiggers. And I'm just peeling this back, taking out these two screws right here to get this panel out of the way. And then these two bolts right here are mounted to this plate in here. This was a big job. I had to lift this roof off the mounts by myself, and it was not easy. I was able to get it down, and then I just kind of slid it out of the way. Well, that sucks because that's a fold. Let's see if we can pull that out with some pliers. Styrofoam, as you can see, this is wood delaminated on here. That's not wood. Cut it out square. I'll replace it with XPS styrofoam. There we go. Okay. And you wonder where I got this metal from? It's an old computer case, like an old computer tower. So it's galvanized, so you can't weld it, but you can sure as hell use it for stuff like this. But this stuff is so thin that a rivet ain't gonna really do much unless you put a plate on both sides, and I'm not gonna do that. So what I'm gonna do is just use some good old liquid nails, and this plate should hold pretty good. Work on the outside when it warms up. I got a nice amount applied to that. I'll just jam it in here. Squish it down real good. So again, got a nice amount on here. And I'm gonna jam it into place. You can see it bleeding through there, which is good. Something new I haven't seen anybody else do, but I figure if the roof ever leaks, this is all insulation, even though this is thin wood on top of it, so it'll never rot my new wood, you know what I mean? I'm going to waterproof it from both sides, the inside and outside. Tar, I don't know you can get any more insulated than that. It's flexible, heat resistant. Stronger than glue. All right, like I was saying, I'm using tar because even if it leaks on the inside of the roof, it won't get into the wood. I'm using some veneer paneling right here, which the tar will kind of hold in place. I'm just lining it up as best I can up against the metal rails, and then I'm drilling some holes and running some rivets to hold it in place. That way there, it won't slide around on me. Into I can get the braces the steel framing rail. This is just the corner brace that I'm holding in with more rivets until I get the framing in. So as you can see, I got the last wall panel put on, the 4 wall panels, okay? It's all buttoned down. I took and I cut a 2x4 and slotted it out to fit that. Then I'm going to put a couple screws in there, and I'm going to start working on the top of the roof framing. Got my cross braces in flat and connecting. All right, just like before, I'm tarring, and I'm making sure to lay it down real thick. I'm using a trowel to get it down, and then I'm laying down my 4x8 sheet of veneer. I had to cut 2 sheets down to get it to fit in the middle because this is about 6 foot wide and the veneer is 4 foot wide. Or, sorry, it's 4x8, yeah. And then I'm just tapping this in to get the 2 sheets to line up and get it nice and smooth so it is as tight as possible. And then once I kind of hammer it in, I'm just stepping on it to press it down into the tar so it kind of sticks really well and everything's sealed up real nice. And the tar does bleed a little bit through the 2 sections, which I wanted it to, just for absolute insulation reasons. Then I'm running a couple more 2x4s here, and then it's good. This is where the actuating metal arms used to go. And I'm not sure exactly how deep this is in the hole because it's in and encased in the frame, which is good. So instead of messing around, I'm just gonna put them in and then cut them. The cool thing is this is a 2x4, uncut. And with just a little bit of convincing, it fits pretty tightly in the hole. All right, so I'm just getting these 2x4s hammered down. I have not cut them to length, and you can see this one I had to put an access hole to get to it. After that, I got my 4x8 sheets cut to measure to get the width just right. Ran a couple screws to hold them in place. And I snapped a string too, so I knew where to put my screws really easy. This all fit on real nice and tight. And then since it warmed up that day to 55 degrees, I decided to paint it. This is using a Kills 3 primer paint. This will keep the wood from rotting in the summer or graying before I get a chance to paint it. So I thought it was really important to get this done before winter came. And it didn't take very long to dry, about a day. So. All right, so what I got going here are some aluminum pieces of angle iron. They are 1x5 by 1x5 inches and 4 foot length perfectly. And I just drilled some holes and then ran some stainless steel bolts through them. All right, this next part was really hard. I took and I wrapped a strap around the roof and I wrapped another strap around it and then hoisted it using a tree and a winch tied to my car. And then I had to cut the tops to length to make sure that would fit the inserts, then drag the camper, which was very hard to do by hand in the snow, lined it up, slowly lowered it back onto the roof. Then I got inside and I started lifting it and pushing it into the inserts.
Well, we got a little bit of shelter now. Woo! And I got a space heater going to keep me a little bit warm in the frigid Arctic as I work on the camper. My little electric space heater, don't have much of a doorway yet, so it's all good. So what we're working on today is I'm putting in angle brackets right here. Those are self-tapping metal screws on the bottom and then stainless steel bolts through the top, and doing 3 on that side, and I'm gonna do 3 on this side. Right there you can see the nice bolts with giant washers, and I went ahead and removed the hardware for this corner cap, and I'm gonna start taking this apart, see what's behind this thing. Okay, I removed my corner cap. You can clearly see into the camper and my new corners that I made of insulation. Carefully using my angle grinder to sand, I cleaned off where the old seal was and roughed it up a little bit too, so the new sealant has somewhere to adhere to. And what I'm going to do in this crevice, I'm going to use that same tar and just fill that all up and make it waterproof even without the cap. I took and I tarred that up real good, covering every little pinpoint hole from the screws and everything. And now when the water starts to run off the top of that, I'll go right over the tar and hopefully not inside. I bought some corner caps from a company called Coleman PopUp parts, and got a little flex to it. I used a lot of caulking, liquid nails. I'm gonna squish it in place. Oh yeah, you can see the excess just oozing out of the holes. Well, it's not super pretty, but I took and I filled in the holes with liquid nails, and I made sure I got a good bead all the way around it, and then, you know, rub my finger on it like a normal non-expert. All right, so I have an angle piece that I made custom. Ran some holes through it, put in some stainless hardware through the camper, right through the outside using some fender washers. I took and I locked it down using washers on both sides. There's a little bit of a gap there, but we're not really worried because the rubber seal does sit on the camper a little bit, and we're going to fill that in with some silicone here coming up. And I just took and got it all nice and tightened down. All right, what I got here are a couple boards that I slot cutted, and I have LEDs running down the side of them. All I did was notch out like an inch all the way down and popped them in. All right, here we go. So you can see one of the reasons why I need to put this in is because the roof sags. So I'm going to put crown molding in all the way around, and you know that'll take care of that sagging issue, and also giving us light. And I gotta tell you, having this as a hard side, oh my god, I've already immediately got major R value as far as insulation goes. It is significantly warmer in here, and of course no wind out of the cold here. So yeah, I'm pretty happy about that. And I did intentionally leave a little bit of a gap right here so the wire can have some place to run. And then whatever piece of molding I use here will, I'm thinking will conceal the wire. Well, I guess now we can try out the lights and see what it looks like. So, yeah, it's kind of hidden so you don't see it. Pretty neat, huh? Yeah. Let's see if we can get a better angle. I mean, if I hold it up here, you can obviously see it, but if I hold it down more eye level, you can't so much. Light! This is my cabinet area, and you know, there's the propane heater right there, and I could use the original propane stove, but I mean, look at this. It takes up half the bottom sets of cabinets. You know, there's a set of cabinets that go on top for the sink and everything, but
That's 25% of my space, and this thing is small. I mean, guys, it's only 72 by 72 on the inside here. So I need to maximize stuff. So what I'm looking at are diesel heaters. And a diesel heater actually is so small, it'll fit in this area here, eliminating that, and it's half the height. So I can take and just put a vent out here on the outside, get rid of this vent. I can have another cabinet drawer right here, or a pull-out cabinet or something. And I am in dire need of storage because I don't have a lot of it in here. I mean, under these bunks, you know, I probably will have eventually a water tank or battery bay there, and then maybe a porta potty there, and I need room for storage.
I've finally gotten fed up of crawling in this little small 2-foot hole to get in and out of this thing. So we today are installing a door.
All right, so I cut out the door, and I didn't have a door that came with it. Normally they attach to the ceiling and swing down. This one didn't have that. So I bought a door on Facebook Marketplace that actually was for this camper, but it was missing the secondary piece, which wasn't cool. And so I'll have to figure that out coming up here. But what I did was I just took it and I mounted it. I wanted it to be nice and tight fitting and have a nice frame, so I mounted it down. You can see the bottom of the windows is missing the piece right there, but I got this all screwed in, and it's a slide that has a screen, and it's a tinted like plastic window, so light doesn't come through, and I put a couple brackets in there and got it in.
We're going to be working on heat.
I got my diesel heater in today. And bam! Thank you, cabinet man. There we go. Let me get you in there. Right there, in that hole there. Pretty nasty. The rest of that looks like it just pushes out. So, alright, beautiful. Now we got a nice big hole in the side of the trailer we can do some cool stuff with. Okay, the thermostat's over here. It is a Hydro Flame thermostat, and it looks like this converts AC to DC. I'll have to do a little research, but I'm gonna take this panel off to disconnect the furnace. Yeah, this thing scares me a little bit, so I'm gonna pull this out and not use this. I was gonna try to reuse it. I don't trust it. So that's what the back panel will look like, and you can see just how much space is in there. I'm gonna put a fuel can in there with a door on the front for my diesel heater.
Okay, there's the outside. And this is what I'm installing right here. This is just an RV door. It's got a key lock, which is nice. Opens up. Yeah, cool. How crazy is that? Got room for my hand. Get your nozzle in there. Look, 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 look. Got a little bit of a sight line. Tap her off. Good to go. All our lines are hooked up. All right, now we can move on to something more pleasant.
Fan's kicking up a little bit. It feels pretty nice. Whoa. But today I'm going to work on getting the cabinet in. The original cabinets came up a little bit shorter than I think 22. I'm going to bring it out to 24 where the tape line is. And same thing with my countertop. I'm going to make a standard 3-foot tall countertop like you would have in a regular kitchen. The stuff I found, it's just called fiberglass reinforced panel white. It's 4x8 and it's 0.09 inches in thickness, and it's got a texture to it, which is cool. All right, so I cut out this section of the fiberglass reinforced paneling and got it to fit in nice and tight around my wheel well there, and next to my Chinese diesel heater mounted to the floor. I took and screwed it down real good into the floor. My 1x2 framing that I'm using for my cabinetry. I also fixed it to the sliding rail, so it's going to have a really sturdy mount. And I just ran a couple more screws into the flooring just to keep it nice and tightly braced. Now that it's nice and fixed perfectly, I took and I picked up some butcher block-esque material. I didn't want to spend big money on actual butcher block. I got something that was like 1 by, I don't even know what, really wide. Maybe, you know, 2.5 feet or so. And I took and I cut it to length, and it looks like butcher block a little bit and fits my need pretty good. It's a little bit short, but I'm going to take and put in some extra boards to fill it in here coming up. But I do like the grain of it. And then on the underside, I'm just taking and all right, call me sentimental, but I want to use the original sink and stove that it came with a porcelain finish. And the drain plug in it's pretty cool too. It's actually got a thing to lock it to hold water. So that's cool. I mean, it's not a really deep basin, but you know, I'm not gonna be doing a whole lot of dishes hopefully either. Looking good. Took out the sink and I scrubbed it down real good. So we got this polished to the T. It's nice and clean. This is the top of my stove. Here's my sink. And you can see that's real nice and clean and shiny too. You can see that the new one's a little bigger. All right, using the original sink as a template, I traced it out, took and used my handy jigsaw and just jigged out both of the holes. So for right now, let's just get this fit in. This should fit. Like a glove. Looking good. Okay, so just like under the sink here, just covered in stuff. Gotta clean that up. I put down this fiberglass reinforced board, and definitely cleans up the floor quite a bit because the floor was all gross and you know, that chipboard stuff. I didn't film it because it's getting tight in here, but I made a basic bed frame. All right, I got my hood in today. It's got a little bit of a surface area. I'm mounting under a cabinet. I'm going to use this 120mm computer fan that I had laying around, and as you can see, it is 12 volt DC. This is the exhaust side. So what I'm going to do is mount it. Okay, so I'm actually mounting this to the frame of the 4 posts, and then I added a secondary 2x4. Back to the bed. All right, this is 11/32 top sheathing that I'm using, and it's a 2x4 frame with a center brace. So I cut the 2 pieces in half of the 4x8 ply to get it to fit, and I got it in nice and tight, and I buttoned it down as best as possible, trying to keep it smooth between the 2. I also had to cut off the end of the table. Got a chunk of aluminum. And I've got a bolt that will have a copper sleeve on it that'll act as a bushing. And once I drill this out, pop this in the hole, like so. And this will act as my my hinge. All right. All right, check it out, Murphy bed. So there it is in its up position, and you can see underneath there we're gonna do some seats and whatever. So let's go ahead and watch the magic as it comes down. Here we go. Ooh. Well, let's see. Oh, there we go.
And it swings down, and there you go. Deluxe bed. We are going to install windows. So what I have here is the RV window, and the depth that it sets at is about 1.75 inches, which is good, because that'll give me clearance for my bed swing. And right now I'm just taking off the hardware.
All right, so I found these windows on Facebook again. They're just off a used RV, and then I traced them out and cut out my walls to fit the window. Took a couple tries, but I got it in there nice and tight. Eventually, too, what I did was run a bead, windowsill bead around it, and then that held it in pretty tight, and I just bolted it all the way through because I figured that was the best way to hold the windows in without using a frame. And it also clears the Murphy bed, which is very important. So I was right on my measurements, and then I decided to paint the inside, just because it's going to take a lot. I had my little space heater here on the side that you can see, which it kept it nice and warm because I painted this in the winter, and I figured might as well do it while it's cold and let it off gas all the paint fumes, so it'll be ready for the spring potentially. The white paint came out really well, but you can still see zebra striping on it, so it definitely needs 2 coats.
We are going to finish our hood installation. We got the fan will sit on here, and you can see that there's a little baffle in there, and with just the slightest breeze, it opens.
All right, so this baffle is for my stove to vent my cooktop, so I cut it out, and I had to cut some star patterns in there to try to get a hole, because I didn't have a big enough door hole saw to cut through that. Once I got it in, I took and I caulked around it really well and cleaned it up, and the hole came out good. Ran my pipe through and sealed it up as tight as I could, and I took and I got my fan, and I just took and I glued it in place, just because I didn't really need this to be like super mounted down or anything. And plus, if I ever want to change it out, I can change it out really easy. I can just rip it out. Also, the light bulb, I should mention too, I changed to an LED, so it uses next to no power.
Painting the roof, or I should say sealing the roof, with this product right here. Boom! I'm sure you've seen the as seen on TV commercials.
All right, so using Flex Seal is not somebody's favorite all the time, but I had really good work, really good success with it. So I cleaned the roof really well using something I use called Super Clean, and then I took and I filled in all the like spots in the middle seam that are kind of like crummy, and like just dumped it in. Painted it real thick. You want to use the paint on stuff because it comes out a lot thicker than the spray can, and it actually fills gaps really well and holes really, really well. It sticks on top of everything.
We're going to be putting in audio. Check out these bad boys. All right, I got a ball swivel here that can be swung around in any angle that you like. That is pretty snazzy, huh, guys? All right, got it plugged in, got my wire leads tied in. I do kind of recommend using banana clips for this guy because it is kind of a small form factor and it's just easier to work with. But
all right, I'm not going to spend too much time talking about the speaker system, but basically I have 2 of these white speakers, and it's powered by this little Fosse audio amplifier. It's going to allow me to use Bluetooth, so I can connect my phone to it, or I can connect it to a 3.5 headphone jack, which I'll be using for a TV mount coming up here soon. All right, the next thing I needed to do was take and get in 2 pieces to fill in my counter, since it doesn't reach all the way into the end. This is just some of that 1x3 that I had left over, and I cut it to size. I'm going to have one upright kind of as a catch and one flat, and I'm just going to nail it down with some brad nails to hold it in place. I'm just brad nailing it into the frame so it's really nice and secure, and it definitely won't go anywhere. I'm going to work on putting in a backsplash, and what I'm going to use is something called Smart Tiles, which I bought from Home Depot, and they're just vinyl tiles that stick on, and they work really well. So to make my job easier, I decided to cut a backer board, and on this backer board I can take and just stick the tiles on, and that way there I won't have to worry about lining them up, and you know, it'll be a lot easier this way. Plus I had the beams, it wasn't a flat surface to work with anyway, so I just put them up on the backboard, mounted the backer board down really well with some screws, and then I decided to take and use a wooden block to get a good corner shape on the tiles. So they connect on the backer board and then they kind of go around the corner that way. And by doing this, it's a lot easier than just cutting them. So what I decided to do as well is run a caulk line down that corner line to kind of make it look natural. It came out really well. I took and I painted some white flat aluminum to put on the ends, so I didn't have to put tile pieces on the ends, because I figured those would just fall off once the stickiness wears out. And it came out really great, and I like it. It's more durable, and you can see with the LED light on here, it is just absolutely gorgeous, and it adds a really good accent.
We'll be channeling our inner Mario as we install a sink, more specifically a faucet for our sink. I went and picked up this guy on Amazon. Now, the way I'm going to bring water to it is I got a little pump right here. Yeah, I'm thinking kind of... So we got this nice crazy adaptation there, going from a regular sink to a vinyl hose. That's one way you can do it. And then this will drop in our water source. Let me try to set this over here since that's our fresh water. So I got our sink back down, got her mounted. We're going to be doing flooring, and let me show you what I've done already. I painted the trim and everything, the bottom trim. Looks good. All right, so all that wood that was around the sides, I painted it. It is a granite color, satin finish. It's Rust-Oleum Painter's Choice. And I did all the way around. I pulled out the power inverter because it's pretty junky looking. I might make an access panel there. And this is an ash gray. This is just a peel and stick, 24 planks. It is just barely enough to do what I need to do. These are 6 by 36 dimensionally, and you get 24 of them. And they also give you direction to make sure your arrows are all, or your grains all going the same way.
So here, the real trick is getting these to stick down really well. You want to make sure that you have a clean surface, which again, I use the Super Clean before putting these down. You don't want to mess around with these, because if you pull it down too many times and up, you're just going to lose the stickiness. I was really surprised with how sticky these tiles actually are. My surface is not exactly smooth or sanded or anything like that, and it's just really clean, but man, does it stick really well. I mean, if you put your finger on it, it is like glue. It's hard to get off. So be really careful. Try to match your grain patterns. I got a little bit off here on the end where they don't match up too well, but it's so small in here, I'm not really going to notice, and most of it's under my bed anyway.
As you can see, I got the that lip going, overlapping it, and oh my goodness, look at that. Mounted and cut out is I got half my cabinet installed. Yay! I got my pillowcases stained, just a little bit dirty I think, but came out pretty good. And I got some decorative throw pillows that I found at where was that? Home Goods, I think. So this is what the bench seats look like. I got them in, and you can see that that side is statically mounted because the Murphy bed's there. But this side hinges open, real nice. Look at that, got all that storage in there. I took and I caulk lined in there. I still need to cover my access panel there, but look at that. Nice, it's got a little bit of a lip here, so you can kind of grab it. Makes it real nice and easy. All right, well, we got them in. I mean, check it out. Looking pretty snazzy. Got our sink there. Let's check out this side. I mean, I couldn't be happier with how this turned out. It's got a really nice, clean, modern trailer look, or modern camper look, I guess, a little bit, with all the neutrals. Okay, if you watched my previous videos, you remember I got a ViewSonic monitor here, and it has the HDMI, which I'll be using for the video, and then it has a headphone out jack, which I'll just be running a headphone jack to my little stereo receiver thing. The first thing you want to do is take off the original stand, which I already did, and pop on one of these guys, which is, one of those wall mount, for flat screens or whatever. And this one's got a hinge on it, so I can
pivot up and down. And I got my bolts ran through, some nice heavy duty washers, and of course using stainless steel once again. And we got her all mounted. Oh man, so here we go. We've got officially a TV and speakers in the pop-up. All right, before it gets dark here, so this is the old electrical outlet hole that I had. It was just an access hole with a big round plastic ring, and I guess you just ran a cord inside of it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put an outlet on it. This wire is attached to a surge protector that's sitting on the inside, and then I have it pulled back to your good old black hot, white neutral, green ground. Kind of like that right there. And then I'm gonna probably, I don't know, run some rivets or something to hold in place. Push your finger in there, and this is spring loaded, so pops right down closed. And everything's all set. All right, so what I did here is I took and I did something that you almost never want to do because it's extremely dangerous. So don't do this. Electricians can lose their license for doing this, and etc., etc. But I made a double male plug. Now the reason why that's dangerous is because if I were to pull that out of the RV, there's a good chance you could touch both prongs at the same time, arc, and shock yourself pretty badly. I wanted to fill that hole that Coleman campers have where the frame comes in. You see around there? So I spray foamed it. Of course, it made a big mess. But if you use an oscillating saw, look how smooth that comes out. All you do is just follow it. Look at that. Pretty. Paint over that, and now my camper is even more insulated than it ever was. So I'm gonna wire wheel this all out. And I got some black heavy duty acrylic. I'm gonna take my tank off because I got a new tank, and let's get moving. All I gotta say is wow, take a look at this. This came out absolutely beautiful. Nice and black and clean looking. If you're wondering what paint I used, highly recommend it. This is just a good old Krylon acrylic enamel with a durable finish. Use silicone adhesive because this stuff is messy. But whatever. Oh, I spilled a lot here, so let me get this moved around. All right, I moved it around a little bit. This stuff foams up a little bit, is why I like to use it, and it's also why I don't like to use it, because it tends to make a mess. Kind of foams everywhere, and then you gotta clean up all the glue. Propane tank, all nice and mounted down, sitting on that nice little piece of vinyl reinforced, or fiberglass reinforced vinyl panel. Got my propane line hooked up. Got my nice new spare tire all mounted. Okay, here's my rear bumper before. I gotta trim that insulation and that insulation. I also cut off, they had a couple old brake lights that were all broken. So I took those off. I mean, these are brand new and bright, so I don't think I need one on here. It's just kind of cool looking, but use my Flex Seal and paint that step with rubberized white. All right, next day, looking good. It's all nice and painted. No more rust there. Painted the bottom door again, a little bit rubber. Cover up the skirts. And look at that beautiful rear bumper. It is nice. Now, it's drying right now, but now it's nice and white. It's easier to see under a dark surface, so I'll be able to pull it up and down. And it's still in good shape, just all surface rust and just need to be repainted. Yucca, rusty. So I'm just going to, I was gonna take them off, but I'm gonna wait to take them off to check the bearings and everything. The tires are good, it rolls good, so I don't wanna mess with it too much this season. Looking sharp. Nice set of new wheels. Starts dressing up the camper a little bit, doesn't it? All right, as you can see in the background, it's starting to get fall and chilly. The leaves are changing, the air is getting cold and crisp, and there's a really eerie wind blowing with full moons with clouds covering very ominously. What do we need for, you know, cooler weather camping? We need a cozy fire. So here's my idea. I'm gonna put a shelf, and then I'm gonna build a box around said shelf, and then put some wood on the front of it, so it looks like kind of like a little wood fireplace, but it's going to be hanging up on the wall. And this is just a little guy. I mean, this guy's only I think 13, 14 inches wide, something like that. But it does have a couple of heat settings on it, you know, and it does get pretty toasty. And for the size of our camper, we should be all set. All right, so now I got the sides all built on. Now I'm going to put a top mantelpiece. And I found some itty bitty dollhouse hinges that actually fit the wood, believe it or not, because this is not even 1 inch wood. This is modern wood, so it's under 1 inch. It's like 3/4 or whatever. So once I nail this down, that'll cover that up pretty nice, and it's gonna look pretty good. Well, there she is, all nice and stained up. I took and I clear coated it with matte enamel. Nice and dry already. All right, here we go. Here it is. Nice toasty fire, nice and cozy. Man, you get some Christmas stockings up here for the holidays. It's gonna be like an overhead pantry, so check it out. I'm gonna put this in here and mount that up against that 2x4, and there's a 2x4 right there on the top. Thin piece of veneer wood. I bradded it to the back, and I got a nice backing. Now I'm going to do the sides, also in thin veneer. All right, I got my hinges on. Now it's time to drill some holes for the handles. Oh, look at cabinet door. Cabinet door. So got her installed. Come into a nice cozy fire. Want to get yourself a little snack out of the old pantry? Boom! Looky, looky. We're gonna start using this little space right here and get a little bit of a face on here, and also mount all of our cool instrumentation. All right, little snapshot, moving forward pretty quick. I went ahead and built this thing. So all this is that real thin veneer. Got a lot of that left over. And on the back is nice angle bracket. All right, well that fits as snug as a bug in a rug. I'll put some ends on there. I'll just measure them out and attach them on the end there. All right, I got jiggy with it, and I cut out the drawers for the faceplate. And let's try it out. Just loosely fitting it on here, and it fits pretty amazing. All right, the first device I decided to mount, and pull off the stickies, which is weird. This thing lights, like when you have the sticky on there, you don't see that as much, but the display's kind of sensitive. Looking good, got everything mounted. I got my amp there on the top. On the middle there, I got my my power station, my battery monitor. I'm at 99.6% battery. And it's, you can see the down arrow, it's decharging. It's only on a trickle charger, and it's because I got too many lights on right now. And then below that, you know, we got the diesel heater. That's turned off currently. I got me some nice U-channel, 8-foot strip of it at the old Home Creepo. LED strip, see? You just pop it right in there, thusly, and you won't see the LEDs when it is in this direction. I mean, look at that. That is pretty cool. You gotta admit. I mean, that goes out pretty far. Nice amount of light. And the thing that I like is, like I said, see that top bar? It doesn't really radiate out, where it's like super bright, super far. To me, that's a lot less obnoxious, even if you're having a party or something. Like, I don't know, I think it's cooler. I mean, I really like that. That's cool. Trying to get a good picture for my profile. As you enter the camper, you got off and on switch. And then the big paddle switch. I added this little handy dandy leveling gauge. Shows you, you know, your pitch and your roll. That's awesome. Well, let me show you a couple updates we got going here. First thing you might notice are some nice drapes. These are sunblock out, so there's zero light that comes through. And the cool thing is these are Room Essentials by Target, and I only had to buy one. And I cut it into 4s, and wham bam. We got some nice looking sharp drapes that, you know, match the color scheme and everything. I just got some wood eye bolts that I took and I ran in there. This is actually a
oh god, a 28-inch dog choke chain that I found. It was cheaper than buying regular chain, and I just cut it in half, and it's smoother to the touch, which is nice. It's a little bit more decorative, I guess, if you can call it that. And then I got an eye bolt down here, and let me show you. Since I have a 10-inch memory foam mattress, when you pull this thing up, you know, it kind of softly goes here, but if you really squish into it, it can squish in even more. And you just kind of mess with the drape to, you know, make it cooperate. So on this side, that's why I've decided to go with a chain and then run a carabiner. So instead of using like a ratchet strap or whatever straps, I'm using carabiner and chain for my length. I can just kind of dial it in like so, and then boom, you got yourself a nice little super strong stay. Now I'm going to do the other thing to the other side here as well. What we're going to be doing is working on shade. As you can see, I am pouring sweat. It is hot. It has been muggy this summer and here in Michigan, so a little bit of shade definitely helps lower the temps. All right, so this thing, it's actually not half bad. It's got like a couple temp holes and it rolls up, it looks like, and you just kind of stick it in the ground or something. I don't know. But it's kind of ugly and I don't want to roll it. So what we're going to use is a manual cranking one that you have like on your house. There we go. At the top, it's definitely shorter than 8 foot, so it's going to stick out a little bit. Looks a little goofy now, but hopefully it looks better when I get the awning on top. Regardless, I don't care because I want that awning. I don't care what the camper looks like. What I did is I got a 2x6 and I made this was an L bracket and I bent it into a S bracket. So I got a couple screws here that go into this post. This screw goes into the post that runs horizontally. I filled this with caulk really well, and it's like a channel, right, for the water to run off the ends. So when it rains, you know, I've got like a gutter basically all the way across on both ends. And there you go. You got yourself a nice attractive sunshade. If we're gonna stay cool, not using this guy right here, boom, that guy right there. Fortunately, I managed to lose the footage filming installing this air conditioner. So I'm just gonna go over the basics because it's pretty basic. What I did is I cut out a hole, and you know, as you can see, there's a metal bar from the frame of the camper, and I took off the railing that normally sits on top of the AC, and I put in a piece of angle iron that's, you know, the drilled, I don't know what they call it, it's like that garage track angle iron or whatever with all the holes in it. Looking snazzy. Got my window AC all mounted up. I gotta get some caulk there in the top rail a little bit, and around this side ran out. I got the outside though, and I got a couple support brackets right here on each side, kind of to hold the air conditioner. You see the old ones that I had, and a couple new ones. So some might ask, what do I do when I'm traveling down the road and I'm worried about the radiator getting hit with stones, or what about the winter time? Because this is I'm going to use this as a permanently fixed AC. Well, check this out. I got a cool bag. So they sell these insulated, it's like a 3-layer insulated bag on Amazon. I'll link you if you want one. It just slides on like so, and then it comes with a couple cinch straps. There you go. That's her running on full blast. It's not very loud. The low setting is even quieter. Oop, that's not low. That's low right there. And that is super quiet. I mean, my little fan I think is quieter down there. So that's what I'm doing. Kind of helps. Like this fan kicks the air up, kind of circulates the air on the ceiling back down, and then this kind of gets everything nice and cool. Temperature drops pretty fast. It's like fluctuating now. I just turned it on a minute ago. It's at 23 Celsius. I think when it started, it was at 25 Celsius, which is, I looked it up, 77 degrees Fahrenheit. So it'll get it down, you know, just a dip below 70 in here if you let it run long enough. It's nice and comfortable, so I like it a lot. All right, underneath my sink, you can see that the diesel heater just takes up a lot of real estate. Can't really put stuff on top of that or whatever until now. So here's the pedestal that I made for my storage underneath or on top of my diesel heater. I custom cut the radius to fit my Sterilite Walmart container, and just put a couple L brackets on there to hold it all together. And there we go. Came up with a little storage bin area. It's nice. I made sure that it clears everything like so. And the cool thing is too, check this out. Got a little pocket right here, big enough for a pair of Crocs. So if I need an extra pair of shoes, boom, have a little storage space there. And there's a little bit of room on that side too, but yeah, who knows? Figure out something for that. Got a little bit of room right there. Might put my cast iron skillet in there. So I installed a new light. That's why it's so nice and bright in here. Woo! As you can see the light behind me, right there, boom. It is not a touch light. It is actually an AC powered light. And I hid the cord all in the finish here, so you can't actually see the cord at all. And the cool thing is I mounted the switch over here, down in here, so it's kind of easily accessible. And it's a paddle switch. And the cool thing is it's got a slider, so it's a dimmer too. So if I want, well, my phone really picks up the light, but it's pretty dim in here. It makes it look super bright. Like this light's not that bright. You can see how bright that is compared to it. This is my new, I guess, noodle board, cutting board, whatever you want to call it, that covers my sink. So when I'm cooking or whatever, I got plenty of space. I might stain this, I don't know. I didn't stain this yet, and I'm actually just kind of liking the aged look, so I might just seal it or something, I don't know. But just pops right on top of there, and it actually fits my faucet and everything. And the nice thing is it really hugs it in place. It's not really going anywhere, so it's nice and firm, and I can put a lot of weight on this if I want to. So that's really cool because it doubles my area, so when I'm doing food prep, I can do my food prep here, cook, take stuff off, put it over here, whatever. And then I also got my sink that just swivels in when I want it. So everybody remembers my LEDs that I put up here, and I was like, oh, there's LEDs shooting up there, right? So, you know, if I'm dispersed camping or whatever, these are going to be my lights. And you know, it's a little bit darker in here. I mean, my camera really picks up the light, but it's pretty dark in here. So what did I do? I put a piece of plexiglass on the top so the light shines through. So when I have my lights on, I can see what's going on in here. Pretty cool, huh, guys? Well, we're taking a look at ye old camper again. As you can see, it's starting to gray all over it, which is like mildew. So that's no bueno. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna try something a little bit experimental, and I'm gonna be using gel coat, same stuff that you use on your boat to paint wood. All right, before anybody asks, I've had this gel coat on for quite a long time now, about half a year, and I gotta tell you, it is doing really well. I'm not getting any mildew or any kind of weirdness. Some people were worried about the off-gassing. I did get a little bit of off-gassing for a little while the gel coat sealed, but it eventually set up really well. And the thing that I love about it, absolutely, is how smooth it is. It is super smooth to the touch,
and it feels not like a boat exactly, you know, because it's wood, and I didn't sand it perfectly smooth or anything. I wasn't going for an ultra smooth finish, but it is ultra durable, and I absolutely love it. Smoother than I thought it'd be. Compare it to more of a boat hull, right? It's super waterproof. This paint's designed to be in the water all the time, and I figure this is hopefully the lowest maintenance paint that I can use. As you can see, I took and I removed the Coleman over here. I used acetone, and man, that took the paint right off the sucker. So I'm finding out just a little bit of steel wool works better. Steel wool took that guy off, and right now I am just working on debadging the old one. You can see the glue that it leaves behind. A little bit of steel wool. You know, we'll clean it real good, and just a good old scraper to get the decal off. But yeah, now the reason for me overspraying like this is because it's less masking. Since I'll have the original decal line, all I gotta do is follow that line with masking tape. So I'll be able to get a straight line. The overspray is if my decal job is off by ½ mil, no problem. It's already brown because I oversprayed. That is starting to look good. So I mask this off. It's still wet. Cannot wait to see what it looks like when it dries and I pull the masking off. Looking sharp. I gotta wait to paint the other side of that door once the paint cures, but got a little bit of overspray here and there. It's all right. I could probably remove it with just a little nail polish remover maybe once it cures. I'm gonna put a decal on the back. Check it out. All right, this decal was something I just found on eBay. I found a good price on it. It's pretty large, and you put sections on it at a time, but it came out really nice. It's designed for anything flat surfaced and sticks good. Looking pretty sharp, huh, guys? All right, there we go. Got the old Coleman logo lantern on there. And Coleman, it's like the original. Got my bear decal, National Park Service sign. And this I made a little bit bigger, just to really make it pop. Because that red and that green and brown just looks great, I think. And Coleman over there. And this is the model camper that I have. It's Columbia. All right, so what we got going now? I got a couple wood beams. They're 2x6s, and I cut them out to fit perfectly tight, and I'm holding them down with some galvanized bolts. It was the best thing to hold them from the top, because the bottom rail actually sits on, it's kind of like an I-beam channel, so it's resting on there. So I really didn't need to do them on both sides. That was kind of overkill. So I got these down nice and tight. Took a while to get them to fit. So what I'm using is a Cabot. It's a stain and sealer in one. And let me tell you guys, I don't think I'll ever use stain and sealer again, because like buying stain and then sealer, because this stuff, it's just one and done. You're all set. The old days, like, you would stain something several times, you have to wait days in between, and then multiple coats of your sealer, you could wait half a day on. It was just a pain in the butt. This stuff came out the exact color that you wanted, and it was just awesome. Pretty good. You know, I got a little bit of smear marks, but I love the color of that. It really accents the green, goes with the other brown and the lighter brown on top. So I'm pretty happy with that, guys. I think that looks pretty nifty. What do you think? Well, anyway, let's get the box mounted. All right, this box I found on Amazon, absolutely love it. I'll put the link in the description as well. I had to hammer down my bumper to get it to sit flush, because my bumper kind of curled upward. I think somebody has hit it before, because it was a little bit bent out of shape. So once I got this all bent down really nice, and then I went ahead and just painted it, wire brushed it first really well, and then painted it really well. It came out perfect, and my box wound up sitting nice and level on it, and I didn't want it to tip or to warp or whatever. I wanted a nice flush contact. So I just ran some more studs right through it with some fender washers, you know, not to make sure that it doesn't pull through. But this box is super watertight and holds everything and locks.
I feel like it's really campy and woodsy. I mean, look at my cool signs. These are 6x6 signs. Like I said, I'll post the link in where I got those from. I got those from eBay. And then my National Park Service sign. Got my bear on there. Got my Jeep Creep logo. We're gonna start charging this bad boy with solar. All right. So what do I have? I've got an old lead acid marine battery from a very popular name brand on the internet, Renogy. It is a solar kit, solar powered 100 watt panel. I just got the regular PWM charger, and it is it's a 10 amp controller. The one thing that I did want was the display on the solar controller. So far so good. Mosquitoes are relentless. Let's see if she works. Oh yeah, baby. Oh, we're only going up to like 45 degrees at a time. All right, got her all mounted. Wires are super tight and tucked in. All right, I got my terminals plugged in. Make sure that you use them the correct way because the cables are not labeled. I'm just gonna leave that there for now. We're not gonna make this pretty. We're just going to get it ready for winter. All right, it's the next day. You can see the little solar panel icon in the bottom left there. It's telling you it's charging the battery. Battery's at 13.7. There's a 1 amp load or 1/10 of an amp load for whatever reason, I don't know. That's the input power from the solar panel. Getting about 20 volts. At 0.8 amps it looks like. 1 amp. It's pretty good. As it's a overcast day. Pretty sunny out, a little bit of clouds in the sky, but it's charging that panel pretty good. All right, guys, that concludes my little camper build project here. We'll have many more adventures building some more additions to the camper, but for right now, that's from start to finish, from junk to gold. I mean, this thing was literally falling apart, and just with a few $100s and a whole lot of time and effort, we got ourselves a nice camper to hang out in and go camping in. So stay tuned. If there's anything you liked that you saw in this video, I'll have the links in the description for items. Please click on them, purchase anything. It's awesome. It helps me out. I get a little bit of commission, keeps me in business to keep making videos like this. I got an idea all the time for this camper. If you guys got any comments, feel free. I love talking to you guys. If you want to start doing one of these yourself, I'll help you. Let me know what you need. I'll guide you along the way. All right. Till next time, guys.